Hello all and welcome back. Tons of Hedera content to cover again today as many projects are gearing up to begin launching on the Hedera ecosystem. From staking to DAOs, DeFi and the rest of it, loads to cover. So I'm just going to sort of get straight into that in a second. First things first, there's a couple of just headliner tweets that I wanted to cover from Blockworks. As many of you may now know, Twitter has now appointed Elon Musk to its board of directors after he took up a 9.2% stake of the company. Very large position he's taken within Twitter, which has obviously now given him a seat at the board. I think this is pretty good for freedom of information in general, as Elon is pretty heavy on freedom of speech and non-censorship is very important to him. So hopefully this can help drive Twitter in the right direction for freedom of speech and censorship. And not only that, him obviously being very involved in the crypto space in general, we may see further developments and integrations along those lines. Following on from that as well, we can see MicroStrategy has just acquired another 4,167 Bitcoin for a total of $190 million. And we've got other tech giants moving into the space as well, as Intel has finally launched their improved version of the Bitcoin mining chip, provides higher mining efficiency, with the tech giant hoping its latest product will appeal to environmental and energy efficiency concerns. So, you know, really bullish stuff across the space in general. And we can also see here a clip from Elon Musk talking about how crypto fixes money. As I said, he is a big advocate for crypto in general. Lots of the information he puts out on Twitter and his comments do surround the crypto space in general, especially as he holds a lot of Bitcoin via his company Tesla, for example. So really bullish stuff there. Anyway, let's sort of jump into the Hedera news today. One of the first things I wanted to say is make sure you head over to 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏's website and that you do log in and set up an account. This is obviously where we're going to be seeing a lot of NFT projects launching, and the main one of interest that concerns me in particular is obviously Dead Pixels. Been covering them a lot on the channel as of late, ever since the project kind of got announced. Sort of very bullish on the project in general. I love the team and I love what they're doing, so I'll be watching this one very closely. As I mentioned in the previous video yesterday, their launch will be on the 26th of April, so make sure you've got a 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏 account, not only to get access to this NFT launch or drop, but any subsequent drops and any subsequent collections that we also see on the Hedera. A lot of questions in the comments about which wallets will be supported. As I've said many times on the channel, ever since I created it, just stick with Hashpack. That's what I do personally. Hashpack is the #1 wallet that's integrated into all of these DeFi and DApp applications from the get-go. So if there is a new DApp or DeFi application, 99.9% of the time they will be supporting Hashpack first, and that's why I use it. Really interesting article here from DOVU as well, talking about a monthly recap. I think this is great, so I'm just going to quickly run through this, and it talks about their March 2022 with their partnerships, podcasts and staking beta launches. And obviously I've covered a lot of this information over several different videos, however it's nice to wrap this up in one video for you guys. So we can see here that the top news was their phase 1 of staking beta went live in the middle of March on the 14th. So new users are earning their DOVU tokens. Feedback from our first 50 users helped us to resolve some issues from the V1. New users can enjoy updates like navigating directly to the staking panel from the navigation bar, adjusted yield calculations, and they're displayed in their challenge details pane. Adjusted by carbon offset multiplier, which registers the total amount of carbon purchased rather than the number of transactions. So a lot of questions following on the announcement for phase 2. So phase 2 staking then came ahead, so the Monday of that week. So towards the end of March, they rolled out phase 2, which brought the total users to 500 in the early access staking, and they will continue to roll this out as well. Obviously, as I've touched on in previous videos, you can only currently stake if you own tokens on Ethereum, as that's the only network that Hashport is currently supporting. Talking about partnerships, obviously they were the first ever recipient of the grant from the Hbar Foundation's Sustainable Impact Fund. Funding will be used to work towards targets like building audit trail capabilities and enabling migration of DOVU to the HTS. It's obviously a big move for them. I'm still waiting for them to say something about the Binance Smart Chain, obviously as a lot of us use it to avoid gas fees. Product updates as well. This is something that I touched on. Achieved an average of 1.25 million transactions in 24 hours during their throughput test over on the testnet. So massive amounts with sustained 277 TPS. for DOVU, and this will be huge once the project does actually transition fully onto the mainnet. A deep dive into the carbon market cap is a great read if you want to know more about associating carbon debt with specific crypto projects. I'll leave that linked in the description. It's a bit too lengthy for this video. In terms of publicity and marketing as well, lots going on surrounding our products and launches, but farmers are always an important part of our mission. This month, some of our team attended the Low Carbon Agricultural Show, so they've been reaching out to events as well. Did a lot of talking. Co-founder 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 met with the hosts of Planet and the 𝗟𝗏𝗡𝗏𝗡 to discuss partnership between DOVU and Climate Infinity. As two companies uniquely qualified to help fight climate change, we highly recommend you give it a listen. So there's some podcasts here as well. I'll leave all this link down in the description, but it's been a fantastic month for DOVU, and they will continue to expand and develop, as I think they are one of the blue chip projects within the Hedera ecosystem, and they will be for quite some time to come, as it is a global narrative. Talking about Hedera and the ecosystem and developments, some of the first projects being incubated by Hedera Starter are starting to put out more information. So there's a really interesting one here called META Stable, which has an aim of bringing synthetic liquidity to Hedera's DeFi ecosystem. And as I mentioned, these are being incubated by Hedera Starter. So I've covered Hedera Starter quite a few times on the channel, and obviously had live streams with Connor, one of the founders, or the founder, where we've spoken about Hedera Starter's vision and what their plans are, and they have got some very wide-reaching plans. I suggest you go check out those videos from earlier on in the channel's live. Talking about META Stable, let's just flick over to their website. So we can see here a stable DeFi tool investment coming soon, access new levels of liquidity. So really interesting concept here, and similar to Curve with their synthetic tokens. So if we could take a quick flick through their white paper, we can see that they mention, or they talk about bringing synthetic liquidity to Hedera's DeFi system. So 4 main points on here. So Hedera is a 3rd generation proof of stake network, less than 5-second finality and latency, outclasses its peers technologically, but does not hold up in comparison to native ecosystem activity. Remedy to Hedera's DApp problem is on the horizon with the coming release of its smart contract 2.0 service, which is EVM compatible, so Ethereum, allowing developers to build and release their projects in Solidity, drastically reducing the spin-up time needed to deploy on Hedera. Smart contracts being made available does guarantee value will begin accumulating on-chain, but a key DeFi protocol capable of attracting long-lasting liquidity is required. This protocol can then form the foundation for TVL to truly accrue, as other protocols can then begin utilizing the brand new liquidity. Now, so I don't know when these guys wrote this, but obviously Stader is coming into that to fill those shoes quite nicely within the coming days. I'll touch on them later in this video. So leveraging the state-of-the-art Hedera infrastructure. Among the key primitives required for a DeFi ecosystem to function are the so-called stable swaps, a critical piece of infrastructure enabling low slippage trading between synthetic assets. So obviously we'll have stable swaps as well on DEXs like SaucerSwap when they go live, and probably Tangent Finance, but obviously it's something that Meta Swap here or Meta Stable are looking to implement as well. We bring in synthetics trading with the lowest price slippage and impermanent loss to Hedera. Hedera has massive technological advantages, and Meta Stable is here to bridge the gap. So they talk about here on this page as well the biggest untapped potentials of 2022, and then being on Hedera, which is obviously really bullish for Hbar as well, something that I've mentioned on the channel lots of times. Here's the comparison they're sort of talking about. So the foundation of DeFi is built out of core function, with stable swaps leading the way. While DEXs like Uniswap tend to dominate chains in the beginning of their lives, they are quickly overtaken in terms of TVL, total value locked, by other protocols and DeFi use cases. Today, Curve and Convex Finance make up more than 17% of the TVL for the entire crypto industry. Curve itself dominates in and sits at the #1 position, while a major DEX like Uniswap isn't even in the top 10. Curve's cumulative volume has exceeded over $100 billion and spans multiple different chains. And this is what they're aiming to bring to Hedera. This is what MetaStable's core mission is. So the primary purpose of MetaStable is to allow users, DEXs, and protocols to efficiently exchange synthetic assets with minimal fees and slippage. This is achieved by optimized AMA bonding curve algorithms. So AMM being auto market makers, effectively a DEX. MetaStable natively supports the pooling of assets via liquidity pools, It will offer foundation pools for users and protocols by deploying their liquidity power tools, protocols to create curated pools, in addition to the foundation pools, single-sided liquidity as well to combat impermanent loss and ensure pool stability. Users can deposit and withdraw liquidity with a single asset rather than traditional liquidity token pairs, making the process considerably less burdensome. And then the Meta Stable DAO as well, so dollar meta emissions for each pool. General proposals for the protocol and the future of the protocol are originated at the Meta Stable DAO. We can see here as well the competitive advantage with Meta Stable with 10x depth. So clearly showing here that this platform looks to improve over existing solutions on other chains and sort of those synthetic trading things. So the Meta token will be the governing token for billions in TVL, with a few different use cases here. So you've got farming, staking, boosting, and DAO governance. I won't cover them all because a lot of them are self-explanatory and you guys can read at your own leisure, but it's nice to see that there will be some utility to holding a Meta token. We can see here as well some more key features broken down into their segmentation. So we can see here users can lock up their Meta and boost their pool rewards, stake their Meta to be eligible for voting, passively earn Meta via the buyback and distribute mechanisms as well. Right, and here we can see the actual tokenomics. So the initial market capitalization for this project when it launches will be $570,000, so very, very small. And the seed round being 7 million tokens to begin with, which is 7%. Initial unlock of 5% in tokens, 350,000, cliff 3, and a vesting period of 24. I'm presuming are all in months. We will have to wait and see when and if this goes live and how any of us can get early access. I'm hoping that it's not one of these seeding rounds that really benefits big whales in the ecosystem, but it's something that I will continue to watch and cover on this channel, particularly as well because it is associated and affiliated with Hedera Starter, who are obviously looking to incubate many different projects, and this will be one of the first that gets incubated over on the platform. So the idea being that you guys will be able to get to the seed rounds of this project by purchasing through Hedera Starter when that begins to go live. And we can see here that the team appears to be doxed as well, which is quite nice to see. As I mentioned before, synthetic assets are a main focus of that Meta Stable platform. If any of you don't know what synthetic assets are, there's quite a nice snippet here that I'll quickly read. So traditionally, synthetic assets consist of assets with the same value as other assets. So think of effectively rat tokens. In the crypto world, synthetic assets are typically tokenized derivatives. Assets whose values are derived from different assets or benchmarks are called derivatives. So realistically, if you have like an S&P 500 tracker, that's somewhat of a derivative because the price is being derived from the sum product of the weightings and prices of the companies held within that ETF or fund. The only difference between derivatives and synthetic assets is that derivatives provide customized exposure to underlying positions or assets, while synthetic assets are tokenized representations of those assets. So we can think of here a synthetic asset, for example, being gold. So you synthesize one gold bar, and that synthetic token of gold represents the true value of gold in the real world. And that's what these synthetic assets will do. And that is why they are transforming DeFi, as it enables this like wider spread effectively of investment across the crypto space. So the introduction of synthetic digital assets disrupts DeFi by opening up liquidity opportunities, democratizing finance and increasing access to the promising investments of the future and the goals of tokenizing investments, enabling individuals to access opportunities they might not otherwise be able to access. Transacting on the digital blockchain and using self-executing smart contracts allows for near instantaneous liquidity when entering and exiting investments. So back to that gold idea or example, if you had a single bar of gold in your hands right now, obviously it'd be a bit of a nightmare for you to actually try and exchange that or sell it. If you had a synthetic gold asset which was worth one gold bar, you could obviously sell that on a market immediately. So obviously it provides that liquidity and that ease of transaction and transferability, especially what comes with blockchains in general. That's kind of enough about that. Quickly jumping over to Hedera Starter as well. They're talking more over on their Twitter about their Tangent Finance, the first application-specific L2 infrastructure to kickstart permissionless trading on the hash graph. Talking here about the different tokens on the ecosystem. So first, participate in our IDO this month. So this month will be the launch date for the initial offering for Tangent. and acquire the initial offering for Hedera Starter. So you can acquire some HSTART tokens. You can then stake your HSTART tokens to gain access to more IDOs and receive HPRIME. HPRIME is a token backed by all of our IDOs on HStarter. It's Hedera's innovative ETF token. This unique token follows a square root minting function and is the only distributed to HSTART stakers on the HStarter platform. Fourth, HPRIME will initially be backed by Tangent tokens and the HSTART token as we launch more successful projects like Tangent Finance, the Meta Stable. HPRIME will grow to represent more Hedera projects. Fifth, HPRIME begins minting. You can stake it with HSTART on Tangent Finance and begin earning Tangent and Prime, which will have higher weights and higher rewards. To get access to the first wave of Hedera DEX, join the HSTART IDO, stake HSTART, receive freshly minted HPRIME, and stake it on Tangent Finance to begin minting. To find out more about HPRIME and Tangent, as well as the staking process, check out this article. So there's more information here about how to obtain the Tangent token. We'll obviously be seeing developments in this space really soon. I'll link this down in the description. But we effectively, or to be able to access this early, is to be in the Hedera Starter IDO and have some HSTART tokens. So I will obviously show you guys how to do this once it goes live, and I'll be releasing a tutorial on that. However, obviously mega bullish on Hedera Starter in general, as I have been for a long time. I obviously had several different calls with Connor. Wrapping up the video, I just wanted to play this video from Stader, basically saying, you know, get ready, we are very close to the platform launch, and they will be announcing the launch date within 24 hours. So that's sometime tomorrow. They will be talking about the launch date. I will have a video dropping immediately tomorrow as soon as more information is confirmed. However, I am obviously mega excited to see this platform drop in general. Anyway, guys, a bit longer than usual, but tons of stuff to cover, as there is a lot of development going on in the Hedera ecosystem. I will continue to research Meta Stable as a platform, and when the IDO stuff will come in, alongside Tangent and obviously Hedera Starter, which I've covered many times on the channel. There will be lots of content coming that way. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Make sure you subscribe for future videos. Cheers.